Hello, everybody, and welcome to another kind of more rambly video. For those of you that don't know, I put one of these, actually two of these now, out pretty much when I first got back here. These videos are basically just me kind of sitting here, well, talking to myself for an extended period of time, but in general, mostly more about talking about a specific topic. Last time we did a topic about Eureka gear progression in Final Fantasy XIV, and today we're going to be talking about another MMO, more in a general sense. And that MMO is Warframe. Now, a lot of you, I'm sure, know what Warframe is. Some of you like it, some of you don't. This is going to be my personal take. Well, not my personal take, but more my personal opinion about Warframe in general. I'm not sure what I'll title this yet, but probably something along the lines of just Warframe and how I see it and how I personally don't like it. Now, for a very long... Now, I'm going to get this started by saying, now, for a very long time, I did used to play Warframe quite a lot. I believe it is my third most played game on Steam, according to it, at around almost 800 hours, give or take, which some people isn't a lot, to some is a lot, you know. For those wondering, my most played game is over the 1,000 of hours, just so you have a general basis of how long I commit to things. But yes, so Warframe in general, I did play a lot. I used to play it back in, what year is it now? It's 2018 now, so I used to play it back maybe 2 years ago, year and a half ago, give or take. I can't remember when. I can name generally around the time when I did stop playing, which was when they did like the Fisher things that you use to get prime parts. I forget what they're called now. Oh, I'm listening to some music in the background. You shouldn't be able to hear it. So, but I just have to put it on repeat so I don't have to keep clicking it. So I can just sit back and talk about Warframe. But yeah, so back then I stopped playing around when they did the Void Fisher thing when that first came out, and I haven't really played it since. I stopped in every now and then, mostly just to dick around and have a look at my fashion frame is still quite an enjoyable activity. I'm not saying it's a bad activity. It's just pretty much that was it. So I stopped in every now and then, checked on when Plains of Idolion. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, mostly because I've never actually heard it pronounced out loud. Probably because I haven't actually looked. But, yeah, I stopped in when that was a thing, messed around in that for a bit, thought it was boring as fuck, and I was pretty much right. Well, boring as fuck before going in, went in, thought it was boring as fuck then. There we go, let's word that sentence correctly, so it not just sound like I'm being presumptuous about the entire content without actually doing it. Now, I didn't spend too long in there, so I did miss pretty much all of the end of it, of Plains of Idolin. I'm gonna go with Idolin, because I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Plains of Idolin. So I never actually got too far into it. So obviously that's going to damper things. And I'm going to just put this big blanket statement across this video here. Before I get, too nitty-gritty into the things. Now, as I said before, I stopped playing Warframe a long time ago. So I have not kept up on everything. I've kept up on a few things, mostly related to certain frames getting primed. But pretty much past that, I don't know how he pretty much did progression after that. So when I left, the pretty much only in-game activity, or pretty much any content that you could do that wasn't just general missions, was sorties and Plains of Idolin. Now, I don't know if that's changed now. I'm going to presume it's not, because from my quick little look, as you can see in the background, that I did go and get some footage for that. Probably boring as fuck footage, so yeah. What are you going to do? Warframe's a very boring game. Yeah, so I went in, I had a quick look, and from what I could tell, nothing really changed. Obviously, just, you stay in the back and you're just seeing missions, so you're not actually seeing all the menus and shit stuff, but believe me, I did. I don't have to get to the menus to go through the missions anyway. But yeah, so, from what I could tell, there was no real end-game still there. And now, of course, there was the raids, the 2 raids. When I left, there was 2. Maybe there's more now, but I seriously doubt it. There was the big raid on foot, and then there was the Archwing raid. I never actually did either of them, to be honest, because there was nothing to actually gain from it. There was, I believe, the only reward from the ground raid, actually probably the Skywing raid as well. Archwing, sorry, not Skywing, was the gear that you could use to like magic up your other gear. Something like, I forget what it's called. What's the system called now? I don't know. I'll flash it on screen. Yeah. So there was that, and there was pretty much no point to it because there was nothing to actually use it on that you could accomplish anything with. And this is actually looking back into a similar argument I made in the Eureka Progression Ramble video, where you have this gear that pretty much doesn't do anything for you. Now, of course, different beast entirely. Eureka compared to Warframe, that's a completely different discussion right there. Like, not even in the same ballpark as we're going here. But at the same time, we have in terms of Warframe, when maybe different now, maybe not, I don't know. Where you have the kind of like enchanted guy. I'm gonna go with enchanted. I can't remember the name right now, so I'm sorry, editing me. You're gonna hate me this because I'm gonna keep flashing up on screen every time I say the fucking word run. You have enchanted gear. That is better than your normal gear. And then, what's the point? Now, obviously, Warframe itself is a game that's pretty much filled with the question, what's the point? At least it was when I left. You know, I'm just going to stop saying that. Just assume that everything I say ends with Just assume that everything I say ends with how it was when I left. Because that's all I can speak from. Because I don't really want to get back into Warframe, to be honest. But, you know, it's something that I still want to talk about, get my thoughts out there on it. Because I know a lot of people play Warframe. I know about a lot of people like Warframe, and that's okay. You can like Warframe. I'm not saying you can't like Warframe. If you want to play Warframe, go ahead. I'm not going to, you know, throw a bitch fit about it. But at the same time, I still want to get my thoughts out there because I always see things about Warframe that are always positive. And I'm not saying positive thing is bad for a game. God, no. Anything positive about a game is good because no one wants bad games. I personally just want to get my negative thoughts out of my head because I always talk to myself about it and I'm getting quite sick of it. So, we have... Where was I even talking about? Gear, right. So we have this gear that pretty much progresses into nothing. And, yeah, I remember. So, I remember where I line track now. So Warframe is basically a game full of nothing. It's like, you have all this progression that gets you to a looping progression cycle where the main gameplay loop of Warframe, so the main gameplay loop of Warframe is you get some gear and you go into a mission. Say we have like just a generic Boltor, it's a generic gun that I can think of. So you have a Boltor, you know, you're a fresh low level 10, you're in like your starting Bolt and you have a Boltor. So you go into a mission and then you kill some enemies. Say it's an extermination mission, so you have to kill enemies in the mission to actually beat the mission. So you go around the level, you beat enemies, and then you get experience for that gun. The gun levels up, your Warframe levels up, everyone has a happy day when you level up because it means you get access to more shit. You know, you can mod it out better. So you do that, and then what do you do when it's max level? Well, you can go into harder missions, and then the missions are still pretty much exactly the same. And then you can just... And then pretty much the game essentially ascends from... Alright, you have your little Boltor to now you can use this Boltor to grind out the parts for Boltor Prime, and you can level that. And that's pretty much the main gameplay right there, because once you grind out the Boltor Prime, then you're stuck with... Then, you know, you have a low-level Boltor... Or, sorry, you have a max-level Boltor, and a very low-level Boltor Prime. What you would do at that point is pretty much just level that up. And then once you're done with that, that's pretty much it. You're done with that line. That's confusing. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase it. When I say line, I mean you're done leveling that weapon. Not like there's a line of weapons and you gotta pick one. That's not what I'm saying at all. That may be confusing to people that don't actually play Warframe, so I apologize for that. One moment. Alright. My apologies. I caught out of breath there. I was talking for a bit there. A bit too long. For those of you that are wondering, because, you know, fuck it, it's a ramble. I'm going to ramble about shit, even if it's slightly off topic. I tend to take a lot of breath when I speak, and you probably notice. You know, I'll just kind of, like, stop and go, you know, because that's just me taking my breath. Because I'm talking pretty much constantly. Now, obviously, I'm sure some people can do it better than me, but now I am getting off track. Holy shit. Right, no. Warframe. Right. So, you have these weapons that are max level that you only use, that pretty much their only goal... Their only usage is to get lower level weapons that you may have to higher level. And then that loop continues. And that's not a bad loop. I understand people can enjoy it. Like, I really have to... I know I keep saying this quite a lot, but... Like, I'm not saying that you can't enjoy Warframe. You can enjoy whatever you want. You can enjoy breaking open a wall if you're like a construction person or not. You can enjoy fixing a light bulb. I don't fucking know. I'm just looking around my room. I saw a wall and a light bulb. But at the same time, I'm not saying that you can't enjoy Warframe. You can enjoy the gameplay loop as much as you want. I am not saying that. Or, no, I am saying... Now I'm getting confused. You can enjoy whatever you want. That's the point there. So, from here on out, I'm just going to go from my opinion. If you don't like that, too fucking bad. You can enjoy what you want. I will not enjoy what I don't enjoy. No, I'll enjoy pickles either. That's right, I said it. No. Now, okay, I'm getting far too off track here. I am getting far too off track. This is what happens when I try and do a Ramble video at, what's the time there? Yeah, 5:42 a.m. You did it. Yes. So Warframe, yes. So you have this gear that pretty much only exists to get other gear. What was there? There was a quote. There was a quote that pretty much accurately described Warframe. It was like, the entire point of Warframe is to just get everything in Warframe. And that's not a bad that's not a bad goal. I understand that. You know, that's what they want their game to be. They can do whatever they want. But at the same time, it makes for a very boring gameplay experience once you put around 700. Actually, I was feeling this way about around 500 hours in, and I played for an extra 200 hours, thinking that maybe it would get better. I was wrong. And personally, a nerve was struck with me when DE, the developers of Warframe, I think it's DE, pretty much said, all right, this end tier progression, which at that time was Void. For those that remember, Void, that you used to get keys that you would use to unlock higher tiers of towers, and Tower 4 was the highest one. Basically, at that point in time, the highest tier of content outside of raids, I think it was before sorties as well, was Tower 4 Survival and Tower 4 Defense, I think, was its highest tier? Yeah, I believe so. And that was pretty much just an endless onslaught of waves that you would do over and over again to get loot. But unlike Fissures, it was contained entirely within the mission. Where Fissures, from what I remember, I did do a few of them. I'm not just going out in this blind. Maybe I am. Who the fuck knows? Maybe they changed it. But from what I remember about Fissures, is that you would find one in a mission, and you would use kind of like a sphere. I'm going to just essentially a key. Essentially a key to open the fissure. And then you would fight some void enemies, or you would go into it and you would do some void shit, whatever. And you would pretty much pop into the void momentarily, do whatever you needed to do in there, or kill some enemies that popped out of the fissure. And then you would come out, and then you would finish the mission you were originally doing. So say you were running a capture mission. You capture your target, and then a fissure opens, so you got to do the fissure. So you come back, and then you finish the capture mission. You would get a random void part, essentially. So say you have, like... I forget the name. Let's just... Say you have Orb A, because I don't remember these orb names and the sizes, because I'm gonna... I didn't look at them, because the size of them makes me sick. So you have Orb A, and you use it in the mission. That has a fissure in it. And say it can drop up to 3 pieces. So, like, for example, the Paris Prime string part, the Ash Prime helmet, and, like, the Boltor Prime blueprint. I'm sure probably all of them were actually retired at this point, because he loves vaulting Prime parts. But, so let's just for example, go with that. So then you would use that spear in the mission. You would do the void fissure, and then you would come out of the void fissure, and you would finish the mission, and then you would have a chance to get one of those pieces of gear. Or one of those blueprints, technically. Or parts, yeah. And you would get a chance to get one of those pieces from the void fissure once you beat the mission. So, in my opinion, it's a lot less of a fluid system. Now, obviously, it's a more streamlined system. I mean, I understand why they would do the void fissure system, because spending, like, 2 hours in T4S, Tower 4S, for those that aren't 100% sure on the acronyms, give or take. You would spend about 2 hours in T4S, pretty much just sitting there collecting life supply, air supply, whatever the fuck it was. And just kind of pretty much praying you would get a part from the very bloated drop pools that D pretty much used in its use for everything. I believe T3S was the single most bloated drop pool in the game because it had something ridiculous like 25 or so different prime parts in it. Pretty much all of them unrelated. Not ridiculous like that. So yeah, so you would have basically these very bloated things before. And now we have these more streamlined but still pretty... It's less time investment for something that would previously take quite a long time. Which I understand why D would do that. Despite me maybe not agreeing with it, or the people agreeing with it, regardless of that. I understand why DE as a company would do that. Because it pretty much streamlines the gameplay loop that they built over the years. But at the same time, it creates pretty much a very unrewarding experience where even though you would spend, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours in T4S, you would still feel like you're at least getting something out of it, regardless of what you get. Now, of course, you still have that same system, but it's not nearly as rewarding because the 5-minute intervals, those 4 intervals, because it really was you have let me try and remember the system. You had 3 rotations of gear drop tables that would circle every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes or so in T4, or just in the old Void in general. Where the first 5 minutes you would have a drop from table A, the first 10 minutes you would have a drop from table B, and then for the first 15 minutes you would have another drop from table B, and then after 20 minutes you would have a drop from table C. I believe is how it worked, and then it looped after that, starting from A into, yeah. I believe that's how it worked before. But now you have this system where I believe you could offer up some resource. Maybe it's Endo, I don't remember. Where you could pretty much tilt the drops in favor of what you wanted. To say you really wanted the Paris Prime string. So you could essentially pour points into the little spears from the fissures. Or for the fissures. And try and artificially boost the drop rate of that gear. So you try and guarantee a little bit more. Which is a good system in general. But at the same time, it still feels very less rewarding. Because it feels like, in my personal opinion, you're not working for the gear. Now, obviously, I understand that people don't want to work for the gear, but at the same time, I do think that Warframe did need that grind. That, that ball-busting, like, horrible RNG drop mess. Sure, it was bad, but it pretty much filled your game time. Now that, when they brought in the fissure system, it pretty much felt like, alright, okay, I really want the Ash Prime helmet, so I'm just going to go run the sphere a few times and then tilt the drop rates in my favor of getting the Ash Prime helmet and probably get it within a few runs. Assuming you had enough spears to support it. Which itself is a dumb system as well, because the spheres let the just pretty much dilute drop tables even more for other stuff, pretty much bloating them with spears that are quote-unquote useless. Not saying, But that's a different discussion entirely. You run that and then you pretty much get it in a few runs. While boosting the drop rate of other spears, give or take, Which, okay, so now you have it, and what the fuck are you going to do with the rest of your night? Sorties? Please. Now, obviously, this is all me being very, very brash, very forward with my views on this stuff. Which, obviously, I understand not everyone agrees with it. But at the same time, this is me rambling, this isn't you rambling. That's why this is a ramble, because I just ramble. I go on with it. Which, some people may not like. I almost feel like I'm doing like a radio talk show or some weird like segment on a radio show or something like that. Where I'm pretty much just standing here, essentially walking around this room in circles because I don't want to sit down. And just kind of talking about a subject over and over again. You know what? It's enjoyable. Very enjoyable. I don't even know what I've said for the past 18 minutes. I've already forgotten, I'm going to be honest. But yeah. Warframe in general, I don't think is a good game. I think he pretty much made a lot of mistakes during its development time, and I honestly don't think he's going to recover from them without them rehauling the entire game. And that's pretty much my opinion on it. In general, I think it's a very slow game, but I also think when they took measures to speed it up, they pretty much broke the core fundamentals of the game. You know what? I could pretty much just quote that statement right there, and this entire video wouldn't have to exist, but you know what? Fuck it! There's nothing else I can really say, I don't think. So yeah. So now I'm going to just take a moment to talk about the actual Ramble thing in general. Rambling in general, I like it. It keeps me on the move. It pretty much gets me up. Well, no, that's hey, no. No, it pretty much gets me talking. It gets me in the mood to do other things. And in general, I enjoy rambling in general because I do ramble to myself. I ramble to others. Whatever the topic is, I pretty much go on a big ramble. Now I know I've said ramble about 15 times in the last 3 minutes, but bear with me because I'm going to say it a few more times. Yeah, so in general, expect more of these rambly type videos. I don't know how I'm still doing the channel yet, but at the same time, yeah, just rambling in general, I do quite enjoy. So I'll probably expect a few more of these type of videos for the time being. Yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. I've been Blue, and I hope I didn't piss too many Warframe players off with this video. See ya.